Not long ago, War Thunder introduced tanks from the First World War. These strange and towering machines don't resemble anything from the modern era, or even their own descendants. Sure, they might lack the firepower or familiar features like turrets, but make no mistake, they're still powerful combat vehicles that can hold their own in battle. Today, we'll show you how. The game currently features 4 World War I tanks and 1 armored car. About the only things they have in common are their sluggish pace and modest armor that is usually around 15 millimeters thick. Back then, tank design was a matter of pure invention, which is why the German A7V, the French Saint-Chamond, and the British Mark V have very little in common. The British Mark V and Mark IV, with their distinctive rhomboid shape, were a direct evolution of the world's first production tank, the Mark I. They don't have turrets or forward-mounted guns. Instead, each of them packs 2 57mm cannons mounted in sponsons on the sides of the vehicle, along with 4 machine guns. The Mark V is part of the British tech tree, while the captured Mark IV is part of the German lineup. The main difference between them comes down to their gun and machine gun configurations, but the differences are small. 57mm cannons are capable of punching through light targets like the BT-5 and make short work of armored cars and anti-aircraft vehicles. Heavier enemies, like Soviet multi-turreted tanks or early German panzers, are best attacked from the side or through their weak spots, like the area near the gun mantlet on the T-28. Thanks to excellent horizontal gun traverse, lining up these shots isn't too difficult. Just keep in mind that the sponsons themselves are quite vulnerable. The layout is both a strength and a weakness of these British tanks. Many opponents won't even know where to aim, the front or the sides. The real key to victory, though, is to protect the ammo storage in the rear. If you carry just a few dozen shells, these tanks can actually survive quite a bit of punishment thanks to their massive 8-man crews. Mobility, however, is not their strong suit. These tanks are among the slowest in the game. The German variant tops out at 6 kilometers an hour, the British one at 8, and their reverse speeds are barely worth mentioning. They're best suited for smaller maps like Advance to the Rhine or Abandoned Factory. Look for strong firing positions, say near the monument on the Rhine, and focus on taking out light tanks like the BT or the T-26. The French Saint-Chamond and the German A7V rolled off the factory floor a little later than the British tanks, and their designs are easier to work with. The Saint-Chamond, for instance, is both faster and better armed. It can reach up to 12 kilometers an hour going forward or in reverse, and surprisingly quickly as well. But the real star here is its gun. The shells of the 1897 field howitzer pack enough punch to take out early World War II-era tanks like the Panzer III. And they don't just penetrate, they obliterate targets, thanks to a lot of explosive filler. The gun doesn't have great horizontal traverse, but comes with solid depression angles, which means that the vehicle should be used almost like a tank destroyer. You find a good spot, range your target, and fire. Since the gun is mounted under a bulky and lightly armored structure, it's best to use binoculars for spotting. One shot to this upper structure can send the Saint-Chamond straight back to the garage, so choose your targets carefully and prepare thoroughly for each engagement. The A7V, meanwhile, is probably the best all-around tank of the bunch. Well-armored, effective, and surprisingly easy to use. It has the same 57mm gun as the captured Mark IV, mounted front and center with excellent gun depression and traverse. The gun also fires powerful shells with over 100 grams of explosive filler. A 200-horsepower engine gets this beast moving at up to 12 kilometers an hour, which is quite fast by World War I standards. But what really sets it apart is the crew. The A7V has the biggest one in the entirety of War Thunder. You could man 6 Flak rods with it. That many crew members means the tank can soak up quite a few hits, as long as it's not being hit with HE rounds, of course. It's an excellent defensive tank, and, in the right hands, can even survive engagements with more advanced vehicles. Just be mindful of the distinctive hump on the roof. It's not just a weak spot. That's where the driver sits. A single well-placed shot to this area can instantly immobilize the vehicle. And then there's the Garford Putilov, a World War I armored car developed in the Russian Empire. Compared to other wheeled vehicles, it's not exactly fast. 18 kilometers an hour in either direction is all you'll get. Still, it's great for both attacking and retreating, as long as you're thinking a few moves ahead. You'll also need to consider your firing angles and distances, because the Garford can't shoot forward. Its 76mm gun only operates in a rear-facing arc, albeit a fairly wide one. Moreover, its high explosive shells have poor ballistics, which is not great, as defeating well-armored targets requires precision. Aim for the tops of their hulls and turrets, where they typically don't have as much armor, or the turret front. Against lighter vehicles and AA guns, though, a hit anywhere usually does the trick. Getting used to the way the gun handles is certainly a challenge, but once you've got it down, the Garford Putilov can hold its own even against more modern vehicles. World War I tanks might be relics of a bygone era, but they offer a completely different gameplay experience with their own quirks and strengths. Do you have a favorite vehicle from the Great War? Let us know in the comments down below.